What up, live? Hey, y'all. It's me. Whatever you know me as, Fun Size Tiffany. I am coming to you live tonight with a panel of people. Really, it's two men, but it's a panel. You guys see the title. For those that don't know what the title is, it's the real N word. Can a man break a woman and the new snap laws? Oh, turn it up. Yeah, my bad. This is not the Roz cast, so I am not thoroughly prepared. Like DJ Roz, whatever you know him as. I'm not quite as prepared as he is, but nevertheless, I have a panel tonight. So, with that said, I would like to introduce what's wrong. I would like to introduce my panel. Hold on. So, on the older side, I have men. I have two men. On the older side, say what up.
What up?
That's Ross for those of y'all that don't know, and I know all of y'all know because I post them enough. And we have on the younger side of the male spectrum. Introduce yourself.
What it do? It's your boy Jack Rabbit back at it like a bad habit. If you want something, better go grab it. It's Jack Rabbit the storyteller though. What's good, y'all?
Period. Jack Rabbit the storyteller, aka Nephew. What up, y'all?
Only the chosen few know who Nephew is.
Only the chosen few know who Nephew is, and he ain't wrong. So, tonight we are talking about the real N word. What is the real N word that offends so many people when they get called this word? It's not nigger, it's not any other N word, but narcissism. Ooh, narcissism. You know, this is the word that upsets a lot of people when they get called this. This is the word that a lot of women that I've noticed like to throw around in the description of men when they don't like the man's behavior. But do we really know what a narcissist is? I'm going to ask the two men on my panel, so we're going to start with Jack Rabbit. So, Jack, do you really understand the definition of what a narcissist is?
I know a little bit about it. A narcissist comes from the Greek myth, right?
Something like that.
Something like that.
Get a history.
Pretty much, the story goes, a man that was so beautiful, he found himself attractive that he could not look at another woman or look at another person. He starved himself. He pretty much said, I will only look at this reflective surface, for I am the most important person. I am the most lovely person to myself. That is what I've gathered. You know, narcissism is, me, myself, and I. That's what I feel that I can gather from, right? That's my own opinion about it.
Good definition. We're going to continue. Now I have another male on my panel. All right. So, Mr. Roz Cass, Mr. Roz Lee, do you understand what a narcissist is? And please give me your definition.
Yeah, I understand what a narcissist is. What I will say as far as what I've seen in a lot of different content creators, what I've seen within a lot of people that express narcissism in their relationships, especially when those relationships went bad. What puzzles me about some of the people that call the other party a narcissist is that those people had an agenda, had a structure, had an understanding as far as what they was trying to convey and what they was trying to lay down as far as the foundation of their relationships. For whatever reason, those people did not want to do that. They want to argue the fact. They want to piss on cotton, like rats do and stuff like that.
Not piss on cotton.
But what I will say is real ironic that from further case studies of that, the main narcissist that's in those conversations is really the person that's calling another person a narcissist because they don't want to compromise with change. They don't want to come to a resolution as far as how can we make our situation, our friendship, or our relationship better. Just because a man doesn't like clutter in his house, just because a man doesn't understand why a woman doesn't want to cook, just because a man doesn't understand that when we're having discussions with the opposite sex and that woman is trying to get just as aggressive as a man and he's not trying to feel that, that does not make him a narcissist. You know what I'm saying? That does not make him a narcissist. I've heard so many different phrases. Oh, he's controlling because, okay, perfect example. He's in a relationship with a nice looking woman. Woman has female friends. It might be a girls' night, so to speak. She wants to go out dressing like Keke Palmer, going to the Usher concert. The man is like, hey, I don't think you should wear that. What you mean? I can do what I want. I can wear what I want. What are you, insecure? And then he's looking like, oh, okay. So now there's no control in the relationship. So basically what that's saying is that she's going to do whatever the fuck she wants. She's going to wear whatever she wants, regardless if she's in a relationship or not. Now, if you ain't in a relationship, then that's understandable. I mean, you want to thought it out. You want to, to be the, it's hot girl summer. Summer's almost gone, y'all. Time's ticking. But just that perfect example right there is what a real true narcissist was, because Keke Palmer did what she did. The backlash that happened from it, from her now ex-man, said all the backlash from all the women and the simps that blasted him. Then she turns right back around and does a video with this man, Usher, called Boyfriend, basically sticking it to her baby daddy. So he did what he felt the need to do and he left. But because y'all say, oh, well, she made more money than him, he broke. Man, look here. I wish I could net worth $1 million and be still considered broke. Something wrong with y'all with that one. He ain't broke. He just ain't got Keke Palmer money. Okay. But if you check that man's pedigree, if you checked his history, now he's straight. He good on that. So my take on narcissism, a lot of people that are narcissists like to deflect. They don't want to have themselves looked at in a collective mirror. They want to put that all off on another person, knowing deep down they're pretty much the narcissist themselves. So that's pretty much what I had to say about that.
So Jack Rabbit, you got more to say on this subject?
Honestly, a little bit, because I was thinking about what he was saying, and it did kind of tickle my interest. A lot of times with people who have this idea of, oh, you're a narcissist because you're either controlling, manipulative. When you're in a relationship, it kind of stems from the fact that there's no boundary set in. So therefore, that's when people feel like they can go as balanced as they want to. That there's no wall set up in their mind. They're like, you know what? I have other people to consider besides myself. And that's where the narcissism comes in. That's when I'm only worried about myself. The only self-survival is the only thing that really matters to me at this point will come in. Do y'all agree or disagree?
Well, I'll get to my opinion in a minute. Would you like to answer that, Ross?
Answer what?
About what I said about how...
I was looking at the situation that you had dealt with not too long ago, and I felt that person who you was dealing with was narcissist in her own right, because she didn't want to listen or have any structure as far as what you was trying to expect from her.
And that was definitely something right there. But you know what?
So before we get into that situation, and that's if you don't mind,
I don't mind
talking about it.
That's a perfect example as far as what a narcissist is at that time. So yeah, explain that situation.
Before we explain that situation, Let me define narcissism with a very well known acronym in the psychiatry world. And I know Roz knows this acronym. So, for those of you that really don't know what a narcissist is, think of the acronym Special Me. Special Me. Let us define narcissism. S is a sense of self importance, in which he did sit there and he used Keke Palmer as example. He's not wrong. Preoccupation with power, beauty, or success. Keke Palmer clearly, by her actions, was not the it girl when she was younger. She was not the most popular. And you can tell this in the ways that she acts online when she portrays herself. We only can go by what she shows us. She's a goofball. She's goofy. She's silly. And I mean a goofball in a positive light. She's silly. But she is obsessed, for example, with beauty. Keke Palmer has horrible skin, for example, but she's always throwing on a ton and a half of makeup. No, I am not wearing any makeup tonight for this very reason. I had a feeling he was going to use Keke Palmer as example. I just know him like that. The E, entitled. Keke Palmer. Again, we're going to show example. She felt as though she was entitled and went as far as, at the Usher concert, went as far as to push other fans out of the way so that she could get serenaded by Usher. And don't get me wrong, I love me some Usher too. But I'm not going to push another fan out the way just because I feel as though I'm entitled because of my steps. I'm Keke Palmer. Now, I'm not, me personally, Fun Size wouldn't do that. But, hey, can only be around people who are special. Y'all ever met people that always knew somebody, was always with the quote, quote, in crowd, always, quote, kicking it with celebrities, or always, and this is a crazy one, but it's true, but always knows the person that passed away. Can only be around people who are special. I know everybody knows at least one person that always knows everyone who's on the news that either got popped off, got arrested, that passed away, all of that. We all know that one person. Interpersonally exploitative for their own gain. Now, this, for example, is exploitative. Now we're going to sit there and talk about how people exploit others for their own gain. For example, this is a female trait when women are losing an argument. Let's talk about it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about it. Most of the time, the woman exploits the man by welling up some crocodile tears. You know, and for those of y'all that don't know what a crocodile tear is, those are the fake tears that the babies come up with to sit there and to try to gain some sympathy. They're exploiting your emotional attachment and your emotional value to them. Arrogant. We saw, again, we're going to use Keke Palmer. Arrogant. Did we see how she was flexing on all social media when they broke up? And yeah, sometimes we're just like that. We just like F that person.
Oh, even before they really got.
Well, no, yeah, and even before. Yeah. Arrogant. Just, I am it. Lack of empathy. We're going to use his example again. He actually did a very good example with Keke Palmer. Kudos to you for actually understanding what a narcissist is. Most people don't. Lack of empathy. At the moment in which she sat there and acted like a little schoolgirl fan, and I'm going to say it, when she acted like a little schoolgirl fan, she had a lack of empathy for how seeing Usher serenade his woman, how that would make her baby daddy feel at the time. She had a lack of empathy when it came down to how she was dressed. He had a problem with how she was dressed because she's a mother. And Keke Palmer ain't young, y'all. And Keke Palmer like my age.
I think either that or a little bit older.
Cool, Keke Palmer, how old she is.
Always.
Yeah, I'll do something that I don't normally do. I'll tell you how old I am. I am bumping 35. So yeah, at a certain age, at a certain time, I don't care how great your body looks. I don't care how proud.
Oh,
Huh.
Oh, she's much younger than you.
How old is she?
Not much younger, but she's 29.
29 is too damn old to be acting
Still,
like
yeah,
that. You're a
that.
mother.
Yeah, but I just didn't know that she was that
Now,
young.
each is to its own. If you're proud of your body, I guess you can flaunt it. Me personally, I have my own thoughts on that, and I'll get into that a little later. Must be admired. We can go back into the behaviors at that time. Again, she wanted so badly to be admired. Look at how she acts on her social media. I understand she's famous, but look at her behaviors. Every mother doesn't act like that. For example, Sierra. And no, this is not the greatest example, but she's not arrogant like that. She doesn't have to be admired like that by anybody but her man. And envious of others, or thinks others are envious of them. The greatest example that he used was again in the appearance of Keke Palmer. He used in general when women say men are insecure or they're jealous of the attention that these women are getting because of how they're dressed. So, now that I've explained and that we all have a clear understanding of what narcissism is, right? And y'all gonna have to excuse me. I do not have my comments on. I will respond. I will respond later at a later time. Y'all have allergies. But if there are any comments, I will respond at a later time. But now that we understand what narcissism is, right? We all got a clear understanding, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these are my questions, or this is my question on this in particular topic. Do you men folks, right? I got men folks, and if y'all don't mind, I would like to put out your ages. Jack Rabbit, the storyteller, he is in his 20s. He's in his 20s, and DJ Roz, Black Bottom Roz, Cast. Roz is in his 50s. So we have two very different age brackets. And in between the two.
Generational thing, you know.
So I'm going to ask the two of you. I'm going to allow Jack to go first, Jack Rabbit to go first, Nephew to go first, on the basis of I don't want anybody to think that his ideals and his thoughts are influenced by what he's hearing from the older male or the older female. I want him to give his full-blown opinion. So, Jack, do you feel like this is a male trait, a female trait, or just an overall human trait?
That is a good question. See, I could say that it could be I'm so sorry. I could say that it could be a trait for both males and females.
So you believe it's a human trait?
Very much a human trait, but I feel as though the way that we respond to, or the way that we act on our instinct to be narcissistic is very different. Very differently placed. Like a lot of times, like males will go to the straight, trying to they'll try to keep their image above a negative point of view. They'll like, oh, I don't want to be perceived as weak, or I don't want to be perceived as soft, or a certain manner of speaking, right? Mm-hmm. Versus the female point of view will be like, I want to have my own opinion, my own thoughts, my own mind, my own body. I don't have to listen to anybody. That's the idea that I'm coming from, where I see this type of idea, you know? And that's just personally from where I'm seeing it, you know? a lot of times, and I can say this, people don't realize that when you're in a relationship, it's not just, oh, one person's point of view versus another. You should never be a versus when you're in a relationship. It should be you coming together to make an idea as one. And that's always been the problem that I've seen with a lot of couples. They never want to come together as one. They want to, oh, he's controlling. Oh, she's manipulative. Oh, this, he, they, she. It's always something. But y'all can't ever say, oh, we've came to this decision together about this because we both had our own opinions, but we decided to compromise. Compromising is not nearly non-existent in most relationships nowadays, and I've seen it time and time again.
So understanding the traits, you said in general it is a human trait.
Definitely.
Do you believe that the scales tip more so one way than the other?
I say in today's media centric point of view, that it can tip some most of the time towards the female one way, because it's a lot more of the, well, I'm finna be independent, boss independent woman. That's the vibe that they're trying to put out, and that can be misconstrued where some people, okay, it's okay to be independent, but to the point where you're making yourself or others look like a fool or look this way, a certain way, it's going to look like it's tipped towards that way. And it's a lot of times where we're just like, yeah, I can't go that route. I've seen that time and time again. And that's just my personal opinion about it.
Very interesting thought process. We'll get back to your thought process in a moment. So, what about you, Ross? What is your personal opinion on that same question? Is narcissism in general, is that a male trait, a female trait, a human trait?
Well, I'm going to say this. I do believe that narcissism is more tipping the scales towards more of a feminine trait, but men are slowly catching up with that. And I'm saying this because of how the feminist movement has changed the dynamic of the structure of family structure. When a young man, a young boy is living in a house with just a single parent, being in over the last 50 years, a lot of times it's been a woman, they tend to take on certain traits of their mother, more so than their father, because maybe a lot of times the father's not in the house, or they don't have any strong male role models in their circle and in her community that can show this young man what it is to be a man. I do believe that there are times that men are narcissistic, but they're being narcissistic from a feminine energy as far as from what they've been learned. And it's a learned behavior. Just like anger is a learned behavior. Just like racism is a learned behavior. Just like hating a certain individual just because they're moving a certain way that you're not moving. So I will say that narcissism in the whole is a feminine thing, because like I said, it's always the blame me. I gotta get my way. You're gonna listen to me. You're gonna do what I say, or I'm not doing this. You know, there's some situations where women was, hey, if you're not gonna do what I need you to do, I'm gonna take away sexual pleasures, or I'm gonna take away this, or I'm gonna take away that. That's kind of narcissistic to be like that, because you feel that you're just that high and on the hog, whereas you can't have a say so. So a lot of men will kind of bitch up and just deal with that, because some of us as men don't know our real worth. We hear this all the time about women. I know my worth. I know my worth. That's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with a woman knowing their worth. But you brothers, you need to know your worth as well. And until you really truthfully understand your worth, then this constant gender war that they're saying is going on right now, it'll constantly go on.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what I have to say.
Pass it back to Jack because he wants to elaborate a little more on something you said.
A lot of the things you said about, how the woman will deny sexual things if the man doesn't comply. I thought about what you said, and that also complies when it comes to co-parenting, because like a lot of the times the mother will deny access to the children just because they don't get what they want. It'll be a spiteful, hateful mother that'll be like, if
so
you don't
many
do
cases
A,
of that.
B, C, and D, you won't be able to see your child. And I think to myself, like,
so many cases.
and it's not even in the benefit of the child; it's in the benefit of the mother not getting her way anymore.
So basically, what you're saying is the reason why a lot of these up and coming children are reacting and doing, like, perfect example, early this summer, the shit that y'all did downtown. Some of y'all parents should be real proud of your kids for how they went downtown tearing that shit up over that weekend. But because you guys, because whatever relationship situation happened between you and the man that you chose to lay down with, you chose to let him shoot up the club, you chose to keep that baby. Because us as men, we can't tell you what to do with your body. Okay? We don't have that right. But y'all sure got the right to take a nigga to court. Y'all sure got the right to try to ruin a person financially, especially if y'all relationship breaks apart. Perfect example. I had a situation some years ago with one of my son's mothers. Our relationship didn't go the way she wanted it. And she said, I'm going to take you to the ringer and I'm going to ruin you financially. She almost succeeded. But if that's not a narcissistic mindset, I don't know what is. Because why would you blatantly want to destroy another person's life just because y'all didn't work out in a relationship together? If it was a toxic relationship from the beginning, it's going to stay a toxic relationship until either one of y'all put each other in the dirt or somebody go to fucking prison. And there's too many stories about that I see out and about as far as relationships that just went left. Somebody that you just knew you just didn't need to be with. You just had to just leave that go and just be adult enough to deal with the repercussions that you made a bad decision, and now you got to deal with the aftermath of it. So yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say about that.
I want to. My apologies. I'm fucking taking. But I was just thinking about something you said. It was a situation happening with me. I'm gonna actually, if you don't mind, bring up something happened in my past.
By all means.
All right. When I was a youngin', and it was right around the time of me finna start high school, my father wanted me to go to high school up in a specific area where he was living. Now, me personally, I was probably down for it at first, but I found a high school that I found more appealing because of the things that it had going for it. Now, as soon as he found out that I wasn't doing it, he wanted to bring every sort of situation and try to manipulate me out of it because, and I quote, he wasn't getting his way. So he started to call my mother out her name, tried to call me out my name. It was just one of those toxic situations where I just found myself. So it's not always just the male. It's not always the female. I can say for a fact, men can have that trope. But then again, my father, no, she's not my father, my sperm donor, because let's keep it $150. You don't need to be a father in order to just to give out some sperm.
I the pappy.
See the pappy. But yeah, my sperm donor decided to act in a very horrible manner towards my mother, and I could not let that slide. I do not tolerate disrespect towards my mother or any female in that manner. I'm sorry, that's just a personal thing for me, and so it had to be addressed. Ruining our relationship further than it already was, but still, I'd rather had never experienced that at all by just saying, you know what, scrap the whole idea of even trying to make that connection, because that connection was built upon a toxic mindset. He was having this toxic mindset of how he can manipulate the situation, how he can get this, and that out of it, and how he could possibly make me turn on my family. Glad it didn't work. I'm glad I had a strong glad I had a strong social circle, glad social circle that kept me in a positive manner. And now I'm out of high school, college bound, stuff like that, And it was all because I was had family members who were willing to, say, what, this isn't right, but make your own decision. And I saw what was the truth. And the truth was, man was mad manipulative. So I can say, for a matter of fact, it can be male and females who are narcissistic. My sperm donor, narcissistic. But that's just from my experience of having to deal with that. Anyway. But yeah, there you go, sir.
All right. You gotta move it back a little bit.
Okay.
All right. Little fun-sized thoughts. Looking at the actual definition of what a narcissist is, especially me, remember that. There are certain factors that does make it a feminine trait. For example, couple studies shown of infants 6 months up into 18 months. Narcissism begins, it is a learned behavior, but it can begin at a very early age. For example, children learn when they cry, they can manipulate the situation to their favor. If they cry long enough and loud enough.
Mm-hmm.
Children figure this out at a very young age. Girls figure it out statistically more than 50% quicker than boys do. Loads of studies, loads of them, showing that women learn the manipulation trait way earlier and they use it more frequently throughout their lives. And this has been an ongoing study now for over half a century. Look it up.
Oh, you want me to look it
The
up?
word, no, you don't have to at this moment. I'm just saying statement facts. You can look it up.
CDC.
CDC.
American Journal of Psychology.
Look it up, did you?
Nevertheless, continuing on, is narcissism a masculine, feminine, or human trait? Yes, it is a human trait, of course. Most women accuse the men of being narcissists way more than the men should actually be accusing the women of the same. No one can deny that it is easier to think of, and this is just any individual's own personal life. The definition of a narcissist. 90% of this acronym, you're going to automatically think a woman. Am I lying, people?
You're not lying at all.
This is more of a feminine trait, and it's definitely not to say that men aren't
I just said that.
narcissists, because they most definitely are.
I just said that.
You know, overall, my in general process and thought of life, before you point the finger, just look at how many are pointing back at you. Before you point the finger, just look at how many are pointing back at you. Food for thought, real quick. But yes, that is definitely a more feminine trait, although it is a human trait. But there are loads of men who have manipulated the fact to get things that they want out of a woman. Because, for example, exceptionally fine men that mess around with not so fine women. They are gaining something out of the situation. And it's usually monetarily. It does take a narcissist to take advantage of somebody's feelings towards you for a financial gain. Ladies, I need you to remember I said it here. But this leads up to my second question, and it's not really a question. Ladies, I want to tell you where you're going wrong with a lot of things in life. Stop trying to change a person when they show you who they are. When they tell you who they are, believe them. But going into my question, can a man break a woman with no guilt, not a second thought, just walk away and ghost them? Go ahead, young blood.
Ooh, that's an interesting topic right there. This light is not capturing me well at all. I'm like dark. Like, anyway, I could say, for a matter of fact, it takes a certain type of man, and a certain type of man has probably already has been broken. Probably has already been to the point where they're like, I don't really have that love, that light in my eye like I used to. I can say that because I done been at that point where I don't want it to. Unfortunately, I was raised right.
My bad.
But yeah, I could say that it takes a certain type of man to break somebody, to break a woman, and not care at all, not show emotion at all. That type of man has to be the type of person that literally has been to the ends of the earth, then looked the infinite in the eye and said, who cares? The man that can say it is what it is a dangerous man. I'm gonna say it right now, because he will not put, you can't put nothing past him, okay? He will go to the extreme and he won't care. That will be the man that is like, there's nothing that is a last resort. And he will move on about his day. That man right there is somebody you want to keep away, because like you can't even tell, because he's like, oh, it's all good at the beginning, and it, on a dime, on a hair, he will switch up just because he can. I've seen it. It's happened to plenty of people. But can I say that he can? Yes, it takes but it takes a certain type of broken man to literally break a woman like that. That's my point. Go ahead and pass it to OG Rob.
All right. Well, hey, let's talk about this. Let's break it down so it can be forever be broke. Can a man break a woman? Of course he can, if he's already been broken himself. If this man has never taken the time to heal himself for whatever traumas and situations that he's dealt with in his past, yeah, it's very likely that man can do just the same things that he got dealt with to someone else, whether that other party deserved it or not. And a lot of times that other party didn't deserve it. It's just the fact that individual, that man, didn't truly get himself in order. I've learned from my own experiences in the past that when you jump from this person to that person to this person to that person and don't truly get yourself together, you're likely to take all of those bad attributes from those previous relationships into a whole different situation and just mosh up the place and just mess it all up, just fuck it up, you know. And maybe that person probably didn't even deserve to deal with it. Or there could be situations where that man is with a person that has their own issues, and he's observing certain behavioral patterns of this woman, and she does certain things to him to make him react a certain way. This is why, and God rest his soul, Kevin Samuels, why he preached about you got to know how to vet the people that you're around. I understand a person might look good, might smell good, might hit it to the left a certain kind of way. I understand all that. That shit, that's superficial shit. But you gotta be able to really know how to vet the people that you interact with. Different behavior patterns, different things, how they express themselves, how they react to certain situations. It can be a very telling sign as far as the kind of individual that you're dealing with. So, but as far as to the question, can a man break a woman? Yes. Is it necessary? Is it cool to do it? No, because that's just a hurt person trying to hurt somebody. You know, hurt people hurt people.
That's exactly what Tasha said.
You know, and that just shows that, like I said, you didn't take the time to get back into yourself, get your mind and your spirit together, and then, you know, go get out here in the world. This is why it's not too many relationships fall apart when you just got with this new motherfucker this week, and you over the summer had 3-4 other relationships in like 2.5 months. Like, when did you give yourself time to breathe? I remember some years back, I had gave myself a 5-year period where I didn't want to get in any kind of serious relationships, right? I would date, whatever would happen. I'd tell them off the bat, it ain't getting no further than whatever we got going on right now. And it could be some booty clapping sounds. And shout out to O'Shea Duke Jackson. Anyway, but that's just what it was. But then my dumb ass want to ask for something that I wasn't ready for, still at that time, even after 5 years. And I got what I asked for. And yeah, and it was a fashion risk that I lost. But I will say this though, and like I said, and this just goes on the strength of my man Kevin Samuels. I know some of y'all are like, oh, I hate him, but y'all need to listen to him. You need to listen to the words, listen to what he was really trying to convey. All of us at some point in our life need to have some form of counseling. All of us has been scarred as a community of Black people. You know, and I'm an advocate for the men, but I'm also an advocate for our people. And I know throughout history what we've all dealt with. And us getting so wrapped up and involved and consumed by Western living, we done totally forgot our true purpose in this world. Once you really realize that, once you really understand who you truly are as an individual, as a person, as a people, then you will be more likely to make different decisions, move a certain kind of way, change certain circles and people and places and things that you might need to change. Is it right that a man can try to break a woman? No. I still feel that that's a feminine trait because, like I said, 9 times out of 10, look at the history. Who raised them? Who was his influences? What did he see coming up as a young child? Why would he be like this? We can't just put it on one side. We gotta look at it from both sides, you know. And that's the one thing that some people get confused with me, because I know some people are like, oh man, this motherfucker, he always coming down on women. No, I come down on all of us, even myself, because I ain't perfect. Because I did some fugazi ass shit too. But when you realize that and you try to do the better thing and to try to change those ways and those actions, then that's progress. If you're going to be totally in denial of every fuck thing you did all your life, then there ain't no help for you. You know, it's just no help for you. You just might as well just go on and retire somewhere, go in the cave, you know, jag off with some sandpaper. I don't know.
What? 20 grand.
Yeah, with a little honey.
Ooh.
What?
That's gonna leave a mark.
Yeah, it's gonna leave a mark too. But anyway,
what in the hell?
I had to clutch my pearls for that. But anyway, that's pretty much all I had to say. I know some of y'all probably got your own views of it. As he says, he didn't turn the comments off, so y'all can't even talk.
I got you. Go ahead. Talk to this is the most recent. There's all the comments.
Oh, well, she got the comments off on her platform, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, she's gonna see that later. I really don't give a shit. It ain't my platform. You know.
Why are you like this?
That's just how I am. But
oh my God.
Yeah. A person can only be broken if you allow someone to break you. Okay. If you allow and take and deal with some of the things that you are not accustomed to wanting to deal with, then you need to look yourself into the mirror and set some sort of boundaries and standards for yourself. Not saying that it can't happen to the best of us, because trust me, we all out here and got played in one form or another.
Man, listen.
Ain't that the truth?
But all I can say is this: with the constant progression of ourselves as individuals and the constant progression of society that's around us and the things that's been going on, we gotta have better discernment as far as what we're trying to accomplish as individuals and who we're trying to accomplish it with. If you allow someone to break you, then you was weak from the start.
Yeah.
If you allow someone to manipulate you into things that you know is not within your own spiritual energies, then you was weak from the start. And you need to get yourself together. Because really, when you really look at it from another side of it, they didn't play you. You played yourself.
You played yourself.
Like a game.
You knew it was bullshit, and you still went along with it because of how they look or how they make you feel or what they give you materialistic wise. There's a lot of people that'll take things for granted and people for granted just because of the status and the materialistic things that they have. It's up to you whether you deal with it or not. But I'm not going to go too long. You know, like I say, it's not my platform. I'm just a guest. I'm going to let the host be the hostess or the mostess. So here you go.
You had something to say, Sean?
Oh, I was gonna say.
Go ahead, rotate.
On that topic that he was just gonna say. A lot of the time people don't look for the things that these new age, even though it's not a new age thing, but the new age thing, red flags. We ain't looking for these red flags. We always like looking past them, you know. Oh, he may have this problem. Oh, she may have this problem, but she does this. He does this, and that's how we get stuck. We always letting ourselves get caught up in this sweet nectar, not realizing we in the middle of the Venus flytrap.
Ooh.
I mean, am I not spitting right now?
That boy spitting.
They say bars.
Bars. But no, seriously, we always have this mindset of, okay, we can fix, we can heal, we can change. Maybe it's not meant for us to change, but in their own time, they will change themselves. But if in that time of them not changing themselves, they manipulate you, hurt you, leave you distraught, leave you worse than they found you, was it really worth it? Was it really worth it to put yourself through this pain, this agony, just for somebody who does not see you, value you in the ways that you are meant to be seen and valued? That is a true question you must ask yourself. But that's all I have to say right now. To the hostess with the mostest.
They done took this a step, like 40 million more steps further than what I was going to take it. Goodness. Have either the two of you knowingly broke a woman and just walked away and did not give a fuck?
I can say yes because I was hurt because she did something to me, and I thought get back is going to be a mug. And it wasn't even that I was mad. I just wanted to show that I could get her back. So yes, I have manipulated, and it wasn't even me doing anything. I manipulated her mind. And that is the problem on me, and that is something I have to deal with on my own. That is my pain and that is my problem. I can admit that and say that with mad facts. I have manipulated and I have broken a woman before. Doesn't mean that I wanted to do it again. I just did it because I was immature at that time. I was a youngin. That is not an excuse. It is a fact. I was young, thinking, how can I make this person hurt the way I felt? And I can say for right now, it was not worth it in the end because it did not make me feel good even after it was done. You can't even see me talking, but yeah, it did not make me feel good after it was done anyway. Because in my mind, I'm thinking at the right now, I'm not thinking how is this going to affect me or the other people I'm around. And it has caused me to lose friends. It has caused me to lose opportunities because of my own thinking, like being in this way. So yeah, I can say I have.
Well, you learn something new every day.
Your nephew ain't as pure as you think he is.
City boys, city boys.
We don't talk about that. Oof.
Mr. Lee.
Oh man, I got a perfect example of my fuckery I did some years ago. And this is a true story. This when I was a young buck, a little youth, living out in Hazel Crest back in the early 90s. And I probably was about 21, 22 at the time. I think I was more along the line of 22 21 going on 22. But I wound up out and about doing my business in the city like how I would always do. Met one sister on the train. Decent looking sister. Was in my route from West Side to going downtown, South Side, whatever. Got her number. We hung out a few times. It was cool. Then I wound up meeting another sister. And man, she was a hot one. She was hot to death. The other sister was cool too. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. She came from a good house. I actually met her family, you know. But I was out there in them streets. You know what I'm saying? I was doing some things out there, you know, in the streets. So, you know, I'm just enjoying life. You know, me, my buddy at the time, my best friend who I've grown up with since 11, we was living in the same house. We were juking some things. We was doing some things, you know, back in them days. And my best friend's cousin came into town, and that was like the three amigos of the day. When we got together, we tore up the town. He was coming from Atlanta. That was who I always used to go kick it with when the Freakniks were going on back in the 90s. Ooh. So he decided to come to Chicago for this weekend. So, man, we about to parlay, right? I had a situation with the first girl who I was talking about. Good girl. I made plans to hang out with her this in particular night, right? But at the same time, I had made plans for the other girl the same damn night to hang out with her, right? But the other girl was out there doing her thing, so she wasn't really getting back to me quick enough. But she did at the last minute. So and this is so stupid. This is how stupid I was. My man that came from Atlanta, he's the one that had the whip at the time. Before the second girl told me, hey, come get her, or we about to hang out, I told my mans, hey, go out west and pick up my girl and, do whatever, right? We gonna, bring it back to the house. We gonna hang out. We gonna parlay, do whatever. My dumb ass was so damn thirsty on some stupid shit. About 20 minutes after he left, the other one called me. I'm like, fuck it, come on through. Because I don't know why my dumb ass thought this, but I thought that maybe the other one wasn't going to come through or come or whatever, because it was getting late. By the time he had left, it was about midnight. So I'm thinking, oh no, by the time he get from the south suburbs to the west side, she probably either gonna answer the phone or answer the door. None of that shit. That motherfucker got right up and out as soon as that damn doorbell rang. I'm like, goddamn. And brought her back. The other one comes to the crib. So she's already there, looking all bubblicious and shits and whatnots and have-nots and whatever the fuck nots and who-we nots, because that's what the fuck I probably should have gotten that night, but it didn't happen, thank God. But we kicking. My man come back to the house, but my best friend meet him at the door like, hey, you still brought this broad? He's like, yeah, she was like all ready to go as soon as I got there. I'm like, man, he like, man, bro got a whole nother you dig in the house. He like, well, what the fuck you want me to do about it? You know what I'm saying? I already got her here. So she like, what the fuck is going on? So they going back and forth, and I'm trying to like, hey, I'm trying to like be ghost, but I couldn't because it was nowhere for me to be ghost at. So she wound up coming in the house. It was a confrontation with her and the other girl. I mean, it wasn't nothing like no fighting, no shit like that, but she had this very, very hurt look on her face. That's what I can remember. And she didn't want to say nothing else. She was like, have your fun. Right then and there, after, booty clap yourself.
Yeah.
Because I still say fuck it. But, I mean, fuck it. She was mad. That other motherfucker was mad. Shit. Fuck that. But anyway.
I understand.
But after like a day or two after the fact, I did feel really bad because she had this very hurt look on her face. And coming from the kind of background that I saw her in and her demeanor and how she really was and how she handled that situation, I knew that I fucked that shit up. You know what I'm saying? Tried to call her. It wasn't nothing going. Wasn't nothing shaking. She ain't want to talk. And to be honest with you, that's one in particular person I knew I broke because I broke her heart on that one. And I felt bad about that for quite some time. But like I say, when you wild and foul and you're not really caring about nothing but yourself, those are the kind of situations that can happen. So in that instance, I can say at that time in my life, I was being real narcissistic. I just thought I was the shit. Young buck coming up, got a little money in his pocket, living in the suburbs, doing what we're doing. I wasn't in a relationship, but I was taking care of some business. But yeah, that one right there, I've always thought about, and I always hoped and prayed that she just got over that and fuck that nigga. He wasn't shit, and had a happier life, coming up. But man, don't get caught up in shit like that, because it could have ended a whole different way that night. But she had the discernment just to be like, whatever. And my friend was willing to take her back to the west side, and which really pissed me off because hell, he fucked around and smashed it, let it down the road any goddamn way. So that was on me. So yeah, you can break somebody.
They went way deeper into the question than I expected. So with that, yeah, they know what they be doing, ladies. When these men tell you who they are, believe them.
I tell them off jump, I'm a bad habit.
Believe them.
I ain't no good.
On to some other news. So I know everybody's been looking at this video going around. It's going viral. They're talking about the new changes in laws and link cards and benefits and who and how they get received. Video going viral specifically about South Carolina. Those who are receiving food stamp benefits, they now have to provide proof of employment. And if you don't have employment, you must show 20 hours of volunteer work a week. Pending the fact that you don't have any obligations, dependents, i.e. children. And you're not disabled, you're considered able-bodied.
Is there something going on in your chair in the back?
Mm-hmm. All right, what are our thoughts on this new law that's going into effect, and eventually it will get across the United States?
I'll answer that first. Good riddance to bad rubbish. Good. Taxpayers have been paying out their ass for decades for people that's trying to get the most and doing the less. Good. Let them get up, get out, and get something. Like that old Outcast song said back in the day. You need to get up, get out, and get something. I have no problem with these mandates. Why? Because I've never really been on that shit. I've been around people that somewhat been on public assistance and things like that. But for the most part, I was brought up to get something. You teach your children to be productive. You don't teach your children to be career baby mamas. See, that's the problem with a lot of us out here now. And some of y'all ladies out here now. Some of y'all some career ass baby ass mamas. You got 5 kids by like 18 different niggas. And then y'all getting child support from half of them. And, you taking advantage of all the systems that are in hand. But government officials are starting to get tired of this shit. Government officials are starting to get tired of this. And just to piggyback on what Funside said, there are some states that's getting ready to implement a card that's only going to be used for things pertaining to that child. Like some of your child support benefits that y'all get, that y'all get your hair done and, get your nails done, get them spider ass lashes that's scratching me across the street from like 18 miles. Shit like that. Y'all ain't gonna be able to use that monies for that anymore. So that means you're gonna have to get your ass up and get a job. You're gonna have to do something. get on the pole, do something. I mean, hell,
They
swipe
said
a
you
pole.
gotta do some
something.
volunteer work or something.
Yeah, as far as for what that in particular state's doing, man, I'm all for it because I mean, they're getting tired of mismanagement of funds happening. A lot of them not being able to really track a lot of the shit that's been going on for these years. So now they're getting more and more in depth as far as how this is getting dispensed. Is it? I mean, I'm sorry. Is it a bad thing for a lot of people that might be just solely dependent on that? Yeah, it's probably a bad thing. I'm sorry to hear that. You know, you shouldn't have dropped out of high school when you was a freshman and want to hit the streets and be all up in, motherfuckers' faces and shit and, dropping it like it's hot and being a hot body, back in the day. It's not my fault. I know you're mad, but it's not my fault. I didn't do it.
It ain't my fault.
I ain't do that. And I ain't do that. You did that shit. All y'all motherfuckers that wanted to talk about all the nerds that always wanted to go to class because you was hanging out with the cool kids and shit like that, like 15, 20 years ago. How y'all doing now? How y'all doing now?
How many of y'all have successful careers?
Career, hell, they fucking criminals or fucking broke. Fuck you, man.
I mean, you can have a career in the penitentiary.
I mean, yeah, that, just like this career baby mamas, but I mean, it is what it is with that. There are some career baby mamas. You know who the fuck I'm talking about because you probably won your damn self, and you mad as shit that I'm saying it.
Hey, can I speak on that real quick?
Go ahead.
All right. First things first. Let me speak upon it. I think that it is a wonderful thing that they're now mandating things so it requires you to be actively looking for a job. There are so many jobs out here that people aren't going for. People need to start, like, they're opening more careers for you to be, even if you can't leave your home. There are things where you can become a remote worker, getting paid, doing your job at home. I don't understand how y'all are not being able to take advantage of these situations. There's so many type of programs that are like keeping, like, that people are not just looking up, that are like just free money, but you're like, oh no, I'm gonna go for the government. I'm gonna go for my baby daddy. No. Now I know this is a little off topic, but there is a book I read when I was younger. It was called The Giver, and there is literally a career called birth givers, where they would give you 3 chances, a woman, three opportunities to give birth, and while they're doing it, they don't have to do nothing but sit around and get fat, But after that, they literally get kicked off. They can't do it anymore. Like they literally would just get thrown to the side. I think about that because when you say a career baby mama, like that brought up that topic. Like you get 3 options, opportunities to produce children, and pretty much be lazy, get fat, all that type of situation.
Are these children that you're giving birth for yourself, or you being a surrogate mother?
They're giving birth to themselves sometimes, or they're being a surrogate mother. It all depends. Okay. Surrogate mothers. It's like a large community. That's why if you actually,
I actually knew someone who I used to work with years ago that became a surrogate mother. I thought it was the weirdest shit ever, but I mean, hey, she got
that's the difference. But I'm talking about I really want you to actually watch the movie The Giver. You understand where I'm coming from. And the book is actually much better than the actual movie. It really is. But pretty much, I'm thinking when it comes to that whole topic of, y'all need to actually be doing something with your lives instead of just relying on the government. Yeah, because your children are looking at you like, Mommy, well, career day is coming up. What do I tell them you do? How do you answer that?
Oh, I know, jawbone.
I mean, you could call them jawbone, bottom feeder, if you like. Bottom feeder. But I'm just saying.
I am appalled.
I'm not a.
Oh, I'm a Larry.
And I's a jackrabbit. But back to what I'm saying, if you really want to have the next generation be better than the last, you got to put some evidence to show them that there is more out there than just leeching off the government, leeching off of people who are trying to work. And then getting mad when certain things don't go your way because you are not putting any effort to make things better for yourself. If you sit around all day
Oh,
You
wow.
know who I'm talking about.
Oh, can I get another bonbon with some cheese on it?
Klondike bar.
Anyway.
I'm just saying,
Oh
it is a
my
funny situation that they put
God.
themselves in.
You want to buy my $15 steak tacos?
And then the worst part is when they assume that you are trying to do that. But no, there are certain people who actually deserve to be on these type of benefits that can't work. Like there's certain people who can't do it because of medical, and those people are going to be getting the can kicked out of them because of the people who are literally, like you said, career baby mamas, jawbones, bottom feeders, if you will. Nothing adding to society. Having, like he said, 15 baby daddies, 5 kids.
And selling $15 super greasy ass tacos on Tuesdays. Anyway,
Too much grease. Try to get healthy, you know?
You know what? With all of this said, I'm going to end this live early. Y'all, I don't even have an opinion on this no more. Y'all have a blessed night.
Hey, Jack Rabbit, out!